Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
September 11th, 2001. A date etched in our minds forever. A day that exemplified the courage of Americans and their incredible acts of heroism and sacrifice in the face of unthinkable acts. A day which revealed the resolve of our great nation. Respectively, Major League Baseball suspended play for 6 days. However, it was America's pastime that provided comfort and restored a sense of normalcy in the wake of September 11th. On the 13th anniversary of that tragic day, we remember those who lost their lives and salute those who continue to defend this great country worldwide. Once again, the baseball family is coming together to honor the pledge it made 13 years ago that we shall not forget the events of September 11th, 2001. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Indians and Twins were rained out last night, so we'll play a doubleheader, traditional double dip starting right here at noon. Corey Kluber's going to start today for the Indians, and Rick, if he wins, he'll be tied for third in the league in victories. He's already third in ERA. He's already third in strikeouts, putting together a very Cy Young-worthy season.
Well, he ended up his 3-game losing streak in his last start being very aggressive early in the ball game. He established the fastball early. He was dominant. And what a way to do it, a complete game. Corey Kluber has been brilliant this year. He's had such a stellar season. Any number you look at from Corey, it's been fantastic. You know, up in the league in just about every category. You can see 4 starts of 9 innings, no earned runs, 8 or more strikeouts, 18 times, 8-plus strikeouts, and you got to go back to 73. Gaylord Perry, the last guy to have that many strikeouts in a season.
Yeah, he's already had 8 double-digit strikeout games this year. That hasn't happened for an Indians pitcher in 38 seasons. Gives you an idea how special this year has been for Corey Kluber. But wait, there's more, because he's not done yet. Indians and the Twins, doubleheader coming up next. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. By your local Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. By Panini's, get overstuffed at Panini's Bar and Grill. And by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. And we welcome you into Progressive Field on a very cool and gray afternoon in downtown Cleveland as the Indians and the Minnesota Twins will play a traditional doubleheader. Corey Kluber on the hill for Cleveland. Let's look at the Minnesota starting nine for Ron Gardenhire, brought to you by Toyota. Danny Santana, the switch hitter at the top of the order. Then it's Brian Dozier, followed by Joe Mauer. Kenny Vargas, the DH batting cleanup. Trevor Plouffe is fifth. Oswaldo Arcia will bat sixth. Kurt Suzuki seventh. Eduardo Escobar eighth. And Jordan Schaefer will bat ninth.
GMC starting pitcher will be Corey Kluber, who's making his 31st start of the year. A 14-9 record, a brilliant 247 earned run average. That's third best in the league. The last time he faced Minnesota, and the only time this year, he took a loss. That was the start of his three-game skid. He didn't pitch a bad game in Minnesota. Pitched 7 innings, gave up 6 hits, 3 runs. He left trailing that ball game 3-1, so he's got a little payback for him. He's 0-1 this year, 2-2 in his career.
Danny Santana will lead it off for Minnesota. He was not in the Minnesota starting lineup yesterday. The lineup yesterday had T.J. House pitching for Cleveland. Santana, who is a switch hitter, would have been batting from the right side, and his manager, Ron Gardenhire, says batting left-handed, he feels really comfortable. But swinging right-handed, he still has a little bit of soreness in his lower back, so they're trying to stay away from that. So,
isn't that amazing? You can hit left-handed and not hit right-handed if you have a back issue? That's something.
Doubt we'll see him in Game 2 with T.J. House going. But he's in here for the opener, and that's good news for Minnesota because he's having a fantastic year, batting .320 with 7 homers and 37 driven in.
Minnesota's been talking about him as the shortstop of the future, but he's continuing to play center field because Escobar's playing at shortstop, and Escobar's having a pretty nice year offensively, so that may be one reason why Santana's not there. This kid can run.
I seem to think the last time we were in Minnesota, we did see at least one game of him playing.
I think he did
shortstop.
Get one start there.
Kluber with an 0-2 count. Tried to get it to leak back over the inside corner, but just off the plate.
He had a very good comeback fastball in his last start against Chicago. Started at that front hip and let it come back over the inside corner.
Smack down the line. That's headed for the wall. Santana on his way to second base, and he'll glide in there with a leadoff double. That's number 20 on the year for Santana.
Well, went inside with that, tried to get the two-seamer to back over the plate, then follows it with a cutter in. And if you're going to go there, that speeds up his bat. He just went inside and just missed with a good fastball. So that hitter says, I got to dial it up if he comes back in here again, and that little cutter helped him speed up his bat. Double number 20 for Santana.
Brian Dozier, Twins second baseman, 0 for 4 in the series opener. Smacked to short. Backhanded by Ramirez. Off-balance throw. Low but on the money.
Let's check out the Kia Indians defense behind Kluber this afternoon. It's going to be Shuck in left field, Bourne in center, Holton right. Chisnall at third, Ramirez at short, Kipnis at second, Santana at first with Gomes catching.
Mark Ripperger is calling the balls and strikes. Chad Whitson is at first base. Paul Schreiber at second, and Alfonso Marquez will be the acting crew chief for Game 1. The actual crew chief is Ted Barrett. He'll be behind the plate for Game 2 of this doubleheader. Mauer 1 for 3 with a double on Tuesday night. Pitches outside for ball 1. Now the pitch. And that's at the knees on the outside corner. That'll even the count of 1-1. The 1-1 out of play on the left side. Hard to believe Joe Mauer is finishing up his 10th year in the big leagues. And Minnesota still has him under contract for 4 more seasons.
It goes by fast, doesn't it?
Boy, you're not kidding.
Good pitch.
There it was. That's the pitch we were talking about. The comeback fastball, the reverse sinker, whatever you want to call it. It is lethal to left-handed hitters.
Yeah, it is. They have a tendency to give up on it. And sometimes when you just nice and relax and throw it, look at the movement on it. The hitter backs out. Mauer knew it was a strike because he saw it moving. It's too late. That's great late movement on that pitch. Gets the called strike.
Kenny Vargas, big power bat, 1 for 4 with a double on Tuesday night, and it was a key double for Vargas because that kept the inning alive, enabling Minnesota to score 4 2-out runs. And a switch hitter fouls it out of play to the left. Vargas, a native of Puerto Rico, and the high school that he attended, I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but they have produced 6 professional baseball players. And obviously Vargas now making it to the major leagues. His debut this year. That's in the left field. That's a base hit, and with Santana's speed, he's going to come around third, try to score. J.B. Shuck's throw, not in time. So Vargas does it to the Indians again. This time a 2-out RBI single in the first inning, and the Twins will play from in front.
Well, he goes the other way, and for a big man, and you talk about a power hitter, that's a pretty good swing. Shuck comes up, makes a nice throw. But it's not going to be in time. Santana a little too much speed. He had his cutoff man right there, but gets into Gomes. So the Twins, 1-0. 2-out base hit by Vargas, his 35th RBI.
Vargas got the Twins their first run in the series opener. It was a 2-out RBI double in that 4th inning. Now he gets him on the board to start here today in the first, and now Trevor Plouffe.
The Twins are 6th in the league in runs scored, but since August, they are the best in the league. They can score runs. I mean, they've been able to manufacture, put something together. They've got the guys like Dozier scoring a lot of runs. Santana.
To center field. Back is Bourne, turns around, and he makes the grab just in front of the warning track. A run on 2 hits, 1 man left. 1-0 Twins, the Indians coming to bat. Twins have the early lead. Now the Indians get their first at bat today. Tribe starting 9 brought to you by Progressive. Michael Bourne, Jose Ramirez, and Michael Brantley at the top, followed by Santana, Kipnis, and Gomes. Lonnie Chisenhall, J.B. Shuck, and Tyler Holt rounded out.
GMC starting pitcher is Kyle Gibson. He's 26. He's 6'6", 207 pounds, making his 4th start against the Indians this year. He's 1-0, and he was the guy that started against the Tribe back in Minnesota. And they gave him a 5-run lead in the first inning. It was against Trevor Bauer, and they ended up coming back and getting him. Of course, he didn't get a decision in that ball game, but he left leading it 5-4. He went 5 1/3 innings, 8 hits, and 5 runs in that game. A ground ball kind of guy. He is 3rd in the league in ground ball percentage. That's not outs per se. That's 56% of the balls he throws are hit on the ground.
Bouncing ball to first. Joe Mauer will flip it to Gibson. 1 away.
Let's check out that Kia Twins defense for you. Behind Gibson today, Schaefer's in left, Santana in center, Arcia in right. Floof at third, Escobar at short, Dozier at second, Mauer at first, Suzuki catching.
That will bring up Jose Ramirez. Over his last 25 games, Ramirez is batting over .300. He has scored a dozen runs, and he has driven in 9. Pitch up high, ball 1. You never know how situations are going to play out, especially when they involve young players. I'm sure when the Indians brought up Ramirez, the plan wasn't, let's put him at shortstop and play him every day.
No, I wouldn't think so.
The Indians had Mike Aviles, and, they had some other options, but Ramirez has simply played his way into an everyday role. And, of course, it doesn't help matters that Mike Aviles suffered a whiplash and concussion-like symptoms on that fly ball in right field last week. But, Ramirez, for the most part, has just taken his opportunity and he's run with it. He's been swinging the bat exceptionally well. He's made every play defensively that you could ask a guy to make.
The door opened a little bit for him, and he ran right through it. I'll tell you what, he's done a really nice job. I think he's made a lot of people open some eyes and give him a really good look for next year.
Lines out to left here, 2 down in the first. Our great clip of the game from Tuesday, Jose Ramirez had 3 hits in the ball game. This was an infield single that he just did beat out. And then he strokes a double to the gap in left center field. Then another base hit. That was hits in 3 consecutive at-bats in the ball game, where the Indians didn't do much else offensively.
He has 5 3-hit games on the year. He creates energy. I like him. He brings a lot of energy to the game, to the early part of the lineup, and he can play good defense. I like it a lot.
Michael Brantley takes a look at a ball up high. Brantley getting the DH duties this afternoon, which leads me to believe we'll see him in left field for the nightcap. Terry Francona, obviously very aware that Brantley, an everyday player, has been out there through every one of these crucial games down the stretch, so a chance to play him in both games would get him off his feet, essentially, for at least half the day.
Well, and make it the first half with Kluber on the mound, who strikes out a lot of guys. And then you can use him defensively with House on the mound. That he puts the ball in play a lot.
Michael's got himself in a good spot here, 3-0. Brantley hitting the daylights out of the baseball of late. 14 of his last 16 games he's collected a hit. This time he'll collect a walk. And the Indians have a 2-out base runner. Keys to the game are brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Slow down the middle of the Twins order. And clutch hitting. Boy, it comes and it goes when it's there. It's a beautiful thing. When it's not,
it's ugly.
You look, you're like, why are they dead? Why are they not? No energy. Well, you got to get some clutch hits.
Yeah, you do.
Once in a while.
And that's something they haven't been doing for a while.
Carlos Santana. He was 2 for 3 with a double the other night. Scored a couple of runs. That double, ironically, could have been, potentially, could have been a triple. But Santana missed first base as he went around the bag and had to go back and re-tag it. And still made it to second on that ball that was hit to deep center field. And on the carom, it hit the outfielder in the foot and just shot over toward left field. Carlos in a good spot here, 2-0. Drilled to deep right field. Oh, my, look at this go. Off the facing of the second deck. And Carlos Santana with a 2-out, 2-run homer puts the Indians in front 2-1. Absolutely tattooed. Home run number 26 for Santana. Give him 75 runs batted in now on the year.
Boy, that's what you like to see, a hitter get into a 2-0 count and then juice the baseball, and Santana does.
And the Indians haven't done enough of that this year, have they?
No, they have not, as a matter of fact. For Santana, though, that is going to be his 26th home run, and there's no question there. When you look at individuals like that on the Indians, and for whatever reason, I don't know whether they take it or not, but they're 14th out of 15 teams in a 2-0 count hitting this year. But, boy, that's a thing of beauty right there. Come right back and take the lead. Santana was hitting .222 in 2-0 counts this year.
That was measured at 442 feet. Don't see many balls hit to the area that was once upon a time known as Pronkville. But that was a laser shot by Santana. Jason Kipnis has himself in a good spot. 2-1 the count. And he slaps it toward left field, and the catch is made by Jordan Schaefer to end the inning. But the Indians come right back and answer. Santana sends one out of here, and it's 2-1 Cleveland. Baseball is brought to you by your Northern Ohio Honda dealers, by the Cleveland Clinic. Call today for an appointment today. And by the Northeast Ohio Ford dealers. Indians have the 2-1 lead now as we go to the second inning. This was the originally scheduled 12 o'clock game. And when this one ends, we'll take about a 30-minute break, saddle up, and go get him again for game 2. Making up last night's rainout, which, boy,
thank
in
God
retrospect,
they called it.
was a tremendous decision.
Yeah, it really was. I was so happy when you sat home and watched it rain all last night. And
all night
long is right.
Heavy winds. It was just
boy, oh boy, there's nothing
nasty.
Worse than sitting around waiting to play, and then you think you're going to, and you never do, and then you still have to come back and play too, but not last night.
I was shocked to hear that Detroit was able to get the game in against Kansas City.
Yes, they did.
That storm must have just...
Well, they had it earlier in the day.
Right.
We never got it early. They got it earlier. But it cleared up, and it did rain now. It wasn't, scot-free after it stopped. They had to play through it. But they got it in, and I believe they're off today.
Yeah. Well, I know the Tigers are. I'm not sure what Kansas City's game plan is. 1-1 pitch. Missed inside. Well, the other thing that made yesterday's decision really look good after the fact was that so many tornado warnings popped up throughout the area. And you don't want fans out traveling, trying to get to the ballpark in those conditions. 2-1 delivery. Swing and a miss, and it evens up 2-2.
Kansas City, they're playing at home against Boston today.
All right. No rest for the wicked. Royals with a 1-game lead in the division. Tribe 5.5 out. They've still got swing and a miss. Arcia strikes out. Kluber gets his second K. Indians still have 3 plus the 3 outs. So essentially 4 swing games left with Kansas City. It's going to bring up Kurt Suzuki for Minnesota. Suzuki 0 for 3 on Tuesday, was hit by a pitch. In the meantime, the Indians respond and put Corey Kluber back in front after he gave up a run on the top half of the first inning. And strike called on the slider. 1-1, or maybe that was the cut fastball. Probably was.
Yeah, cutter.
Oh, a tremendous diving stop by Carlos Santana. How do you do? And that is out number 2 here in the second.
Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you, that was a really nice play. He had no more room left in that glove to catch that ball, and I thought it was a double down the line. He takes one step and dives, and he's able to take that ball. Looks like it might have been a double if Santana doesn't grab it.
Tuesday night, I think he made a diving stab on a line drive.
Yeah, he did.
That he caught. He's gotten better and better over there at first base.
Very good play.
It's something I know that Terry Francona has been encouraged by. You know, something that where you watch a guy make that transition, and on top of that, Rick, not only has he moved from third base, well, he's moved from catcher to third base to first base, really all in the same season, but at the same time, he got off to such a horrendous start offensively. And now you look up, he's at 26 homers and 75 runs batted in. So for Terry, he's like, that shows me something about Santana, that he didn't just roll over and quit.
He did not do that. I'll tell you, he's improved defensively over there. He was playing first base last year when he was doing catching, the duties, and that'd be his off day, going to first base. But he really has been a lot better over there.
Now the 1-1 to Eduardo Escobar, foul right back. Two and two. That's blistered foul.
Those guys are up
There's
looking for it.
There's some confused looks. That lady has it.
Yeah.
I don't know if she caught it or if it caught her.
It caught her, and she.
Ooh.
Those guys were looking for the ball, and she's got it right in her lap.
Look at him. Nice job, honey. Great job. And she's rubbing her arm. And
she was down there texting somebody. And now she's going to be texting the hospital. I'll be right in.
The 2-2 in the air to left. I'll be texting urgent care. The inning is over. Twins go 1-2-3. Carlos Santana helping out Corey Kluber with the bat and with the glove. One lead as we go to the bottom of the second, and Yan Gomes to lead off for the Tribe. Kyle Gibson. Pitch up and away for ball one. Gomes 1 for 3 on Tuesday with a couple of runs driven in. Last night was the 6th game this year the Indians have had rained out. And, Rick, it started early. We had game rained out. Was it game 2 in Oakland?
Yes, it was.
Game 2 was rained out in Oakland.
Had to make up a doubleheader in the first series of the year.
Came home, first homestand. Game rained out with San Diego. That turned into a doubleheader.
Next trip to Detroit. Snowed out.
Yeah. We were frozen out in Detroit.
Yeah, it's been one of those years, and hey, that happens.
Gomes sends a high drive, deep left field. Schaefer back, looking up. He's out of room. It's out of here. Yan Gomes with his 18th home run of the year. A solo shot to the bleachers and left makes it 3-1 Cleveland. And now Kyle Gibson, who had allowed 9 homers in 27 starts this year, has given up 2 in the first 2 innings.
Now, this is a guy that keeps it on the ground, too, most of the time. This is going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. He left one middle of the plate, and Gomes able to elevate. And he got that high and deep. Looked like it might have been a slider. And he knew he hit it well. Up over the railing, off the fans' hands, back into play, and he can't believe it. But it's a 3-1 ball game.
And now Lonnie Chisenhall takes a strike. Gomes had a lot of fun against Minnesota this year in 13 games. 5 homers, a dozen driven in, and a .325 batting average. Lonnie, a dribbler up the first baseline. It goes foul right in front of the bag. And he'll try again, 0-2. Now the 0-2. A little bit out of the zone, up high. And Lonnie smokes it deep right field, and that's off the wall. Played well by Arcia, and Chisenhall has to slam on the brakes, wisely so.
Yeah, I mean, that was a line drive that got to the wall, had a little top spin. And Lonnie, he did the right thing. He rounded first base, and he saw that Arcia had the ball, and he had to hold up. He was thinking, too, coming out of the box. It came right back to him. He gets it in quickly, so smart move holding up.
Well, I tell you what, as the saying goes, Kyle Gibson's not fooling anybody here in the early going. Indians are taking some tremendous swings. J.B. Shuck looks at a ball outside. J.B. Shuck 0 for 5 since coming to Cleveland. Oh, he was going to try to bunt for a hit there. Came up empty. Kyle Gibson had not a lot of home run in his previous 3 starts. And it's only the second time this year he's given up 2 homers in a game. And ironically, the other time it happened, you'd never guess the ballpark. Shuck bounced it to first. Double play ball to Mauer. But on the return throw, Shuck with that tremendous speed beats it out.
I don't know the ballpark. What is it?
San Francisco.
Yeah,
not exactly
that's a tough
Homer
one.
Haven.
No, it is not. You're right. Well, there should be a double play, but the throw by Mauer brings Escobar off the base. He's not in line to throw it, so he had to throw it flat-footed. Couldn't get much on it, so that first throw from Mauer wasn't very good. That's why they don't turn the double play, and Shuck beats it out. Anytime you're going to try and turn that first throw to the guy at second, no matter whether it's from third base, first base, you got to get it in momentum to throw, and they can end up turning it. But
Tyler Holt bounces it to third. They'll try again. There's one, and this time they turn the double play. That might end the inning. Terry Francona is saying, hold everything. I might want to challenge this. As he looks back into the dugout for his replay confirmation.
I thought they had him.
And he says, we're good. So the inning comes to an end on the double play ball, but Yan Gomes puts the Tribe another run in front with his 18th home run of the season.
September pennant races is with MLB.com at bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, replay reviews, scores, live radio broadcasts, the MLB TV game of the day, and more. Get at bat for your smartphone or tablet on the App Store or visit Indians.com.
Jordan Schaefer to lead off the third for Minnesota and looks at a ball up high. Broke his bat. I mean, that had to hurt, huh?
That's getting deep in the kitchen right there.
Time now for our Hear Right Audiology Sounds of the Game. Here's Corey Kluber on his evolving as a pitcher.
There's always stuff you can work on. There's always stuff you can get better at. You know, you're never going to master, pitching or anything like that. So you can always still come out here and try to learn something. Even if, say TJ's pitching. He's a left-handed pitcher. It's the exact opposite of me. But you can still learn something from the way he goes about pitching a game or something like that. Even though it might be a roundabout way to get there. You can still, or even watching a guy from the other team. There's something that you can. I feel like there's something you can learn from every game.
Is that something that you picked up on and noticed maybe later in your career when you weren't an everyday player and you had time to sit and watch more?
No, you do that when you're an everyday player. You can always learn. The more you get in there, you may think that you don't have to or you know everything. This game that's what's so humbling about the game. It doesn't matter how good you're going. All of a sudden, it could turn on you in a minute. So you want to be prepared and do anything you possibly can. Always, you're like a sponge. Even if you're an everyday player, you can learn, but other people can come ask you questions, but you can still learn from them no matter how good you are or what you do.
Nobody has all the answers. It's a great
game. No, it's a great game. You know what? And someone may tell you one thing and it doesn't register, but someone else may have a different way of putting it. And another punch out.
Number 3 for Kluber. They'll tell you the exact same thing in a different manner, and it might hit home. Huh?
Yeah, it rings home. Where you can. Okay, I understand what you're telling me now.
Look at Kluber here with a backdoor cutter.
There you go. Now you see Santana hit the cutter on the inside part of the plate, his first at-bat, so he went away with it that time, and he got him to take it. And there's 226 punchies.
Moves ahead of Sudden Sam in 1966.
Well, that's Sam and Gaylord all the way up, and then you see up at the top you have Feller and Score before you get to the top 10.
Well, he's got a chance potentially to get into that rarefied air.
Well, he's already in it, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, yeah.
I mean, when you get into the really, really rarefied, he's not going to get as many innings as those guys.
Okay, how
pitch.
rare is rarefied then?
That's really
You're splitting
rare.
hairs now.
Well, I'm talking about the 300s. The guys in the old days that pitched all the innings and they started every 4 days.
That's another planet.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's rare.
Dozier takes a strike.
It is. I mean, let's look at the real rare air. 348. I mean, come on. It's disgusting. And then McDowell for 2, 3, 4, and 5. 300 twice and then 280.
Tiante at 264, Herbie.
That's the rarefied air.
Well, Kluber keeps piling them up. 4 strikeouts in the first 3 innings. Dozier can't believe it. Check the numbers. 3-1 Cleveland. Stay tuned later in the game for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. 50 Shades of Gray in downtown Cleveland this afternoon.
Yeah, but at least there's no rain.
That's you, looking for the silver lining.
That's
Michael Bourne wanted to bunt, but he came up empty.
That's always me.
Mr. Glass has full. Oh, boy.
You needed a laugh today, I take it.
Here's the 0-1 to Bourne. Right back up the middle.
It's going to be a base knock.
Dozier, no chance. Gave it a game effort, but Bourne beats it out with the infield single.
You know, that ball, I'm not sure where it deflected off of Kyle Gibson. Let's check it out on our Wendy slow motion replay. Did he get leather on it? Did his foot? But what it did when it took off, it looks like a foot. It hit his cleat, bottom of his cleat, and it deadened it. It started to roll over there to Dozier, who made a nice attempt and did everything in his power, but Bourne's speed beats it out. Infield single for Michael.
Plouffe in on the grass at third, expecting a bunt from Ramirez. But the way he's been swinging it lately, Terry Francona would probably rather he just swing away.
Well, you're right. If Gibson's up with the pitch, they have 2 singles and 2 homers so far. But if he's elevating the baseball, go ahead and swing it.
Up and in, knocked him off the plate. Ramirez, that's something you don't see anymore. He always told you if the pitch is coming close to you, drop the bat.
Well, he did just that. That'll get your attention in a hurry. There you go. Did you see how his arms went away once he dropped it? Took him right out of play, didn't it?
Now he's worked himself back into the count 2-1.
See, this would be a good time to maybe start your runner, but his control isn't that good today. You got to be careful because he's all over and he can walk a lot of guys. He has 50 walks on the season.
Lined into right field, a base hit.
Good job by Bourne.
Yeah, he made a wide turn, but he's going to have to stop, and wisely so. He had to stop and let that ball go by.
It was funny. It was weird looking because you had Mauer trying to go for the ball and Bourne getting out of the way of the ball. It was weird. I mean, he hits the hole. That's a good job. That ball was elevated. Now watch Bourne go back, and here comes Mauer going that way. So anytime you're right. Usually a rule of thumb is if that ball, you have to wait on it. You don't try to go to third base. But he made a big turn, and Ramirez thought he was going, so he was going to second base, but he had time to get back. So back-to-back singles to start off the third.
The makings of a rally now as Michael Brantley comes to the plate, walked and scored in the first. Taps it foul. Season average at .314. With runners in scoring position, that average goes up to .360. Outside 1-1. Brantley's .314 batting average is 6th best in the American League. That .360 mark with runners in scoring position is 2nd best in the AL. In the dirt, well blocked by Suzuki.
He normally has a very good slider. That's his good pitch, but he hasn't had control of it today. Plus, he's pitching from behind, so it's tough to throw, I think, if you can't control it.
Already his 40th pitch now. And again, it bounces foul, first base side. 2-2. It's funny, Rick, so many times we see Brantley focusing on middle of the field, opposite way, but in this at bat, both times he's trying. Looks like he's making an effort to try and pull the ball, but he's been out in front of it.
Well, he's a sinker baller, so sometimes you'll hit the top part of that baseball and then drive it into the ground like Michael has. The one that Ramirez was able to turn on, he left that sinker up, belt high. There's his slider.
And maybe a good reason why Brantley's been pulling is because that's where Gibson's been pitching him. He knows if he puts one out over the plate, Michael's just going to line it to left field. So 2 on, nobody out. Santana on deck and a 3-2 count for Brantley. You could start your runners here because he rarely strikes out. And it gets through. Coming around third, Bourne will score. Ramirez stops at second, 4-1 Cleveland. 3 straight singles to start the third inning. Brantley with his 90th run batted in on the year.
I think that's exactly what Michael was trying to do there, is pull that ball into the hole. And even though that ball might have been down and away, he gets on top of it and finds the hole. That'll score Bourne, give him his 90th RBI, 3 straight singles. And I'll tell you right now, Kyle Gibson's in trouble.
And Rick Anderson's out to talk to him. And the last thing Ron Gardenhire and Rick Anderson want to do is have to get the bullpen up in the third inning when you've got 2 games in one day, even with the expanded rosters. Though it certainly eases the burden on a pitching staff when you've got seemingly an endless array of pitchers down there to choose from.
Yeah, they've got a boatload of them, but you're falling behind a guy now that he's facing in Corey Kluber. You can't fall behind much more.
Carlos Santana hit a line drive 2-run homer in the first inning. To right field. What are they? 455? Is that what it was?
It was a long way.
442 is what the tail of the tape was. Long way. Hits that one just foul. Ooh. .44 pitches for Kyle Gibson. Just 24 of those have been strikes, so he has been behind in the count a lot. As you check the numbers on Santana, just the 5th player in Indians history with 25 homers and 100 walks.
Well, Santana had a 2-0 pitch his last time up. But today, even when Gibson gets to 2 strikes on a hitter, he's gotten 3 hitters. They're 3 for 3. So he hasn't been able to put them away. So his stuff is a little short today.
Had him out on his front foot and pops it up. And easy out for out number 1. You can tweet your photos to us using the hashtag STOFanPhoto for a chance to have those pictures shown during our telecast, courtesy of AT&T. We'll have our fan photo of the game coming up in a little while. Here is Jason Kipnis, lined out to left his first time up. Missed inside. Ball 1. Terry Francona was sharing a story recently when Jason Kipnis was getting ready to come up the bat. He walked by Francona and he said, you know what, now I know I'm not doing this for the money. And Terry said, I kind of caught myself because I was smiling when I heard him say that. He goes, you want to know that you got players who aren't playing for the money. They're playing to be in a game like this, in a meaningful stretch of the season where everything's on the line. He said, you hope you have those kind of guys, but you never know maybe for sure. And he said then Kip grounded into a double play, and that smile quickly went away from my face.
Yeah.
Well, he's got himself in a good count, and Gibson's not going to be long for this game at the rate he's going. He's been behind just about every hitter. Finds the strike zone. It's 3-1. Ramirez at second, Brantley at first. And that's ball 4. The bases are loaded.
Yeah, will he go get him now? He's dug himself a really big hole, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get out of it. Second walk today.
Yan Gomes, first time up. Launched one into the bleachers. They're just now, I can't tell if they've got anybody up throwing yet or if they're just guys kind of scrambling around. But
well, they're scrambling around now unless he's going to make them give, you got yourself into this mess, get yourself out of it.
Bases loaded, 1 out. Gomes swings and fouls it. Third base side. Just now getting Anthony Swarzak up in that Minnesota bullpen.
Well, he'll be a couple hitters away.
Gomes with Chisenhall to follow. Indians already up 4-1. There's a hammer job, deep left center field, off the wall. Ramirez scores. Brantley scores. Kipnis stops at third. Yan Gomes delivers a 2-run double. 6-1 Cleveland. Gomes with double number 25. And now 3 runs batted in already on the day. He's got 62 for the season.
Well, again, this time he hits that sinker or a changeup, whatever it was. I'm not sure. But that goes off the wall. So he hit the slider out of the ballpark. That little sinker off the wall. So Yan with a good game. He's 2 for 2 with 3 RBIs. It's a 6-1 lead. Still second and third and still just 1 out. So they're playing the infield in now.
Yeah, Lonnie Chisenhall, the batter, singled his first time up. Shoots it out of play. Lonnie, it was a single, but it was a hard-hit ball that hit, well, I'd say about halfway up the wall in right field. But Arcia made a perfect play off the carom and held Lonnie to a single. The 0-1. Fouled right back. Boy, they are getting some good cuts.
Yeah, they are.
I don't know that he's had many, if any, swings and misses. "55 pitches for Gibson, 30 of those for strikes."
Tommy Bo's on that one, just 2 swings and misses today.
Well, Jason Kipnis at third base with Yan Gomes at second. As Rick told you, the infield in, not all the way in. Blooped towards center. Santana's going to make the grab. Kipnis will tag. He'll try to score. Here's the throw way off line. Another run for the Indians. It's a 4-run third, 7-1 Cleveland. So they have taken advantage and done some damage already here in the early part of this game. A 2-run homer by Santana in the first, solo homer by Gomes in the second. Then they strung together 3 consecutive singles to start this inning. And after the walk to Kipnis, Gomes with a 2-run double. Chisenhall with a sac fly. RBI number 57 for Lonnie. J.B. Shuck takes inside. Right back up the middle. Cut off by Dozier. And on the flip, he gets Shuck to end the inning. Indians plate 4 more. Yan Gomes drives in 2 of them. Indians in command, 7-1. Check out the Game Day Live page. Isaiah Crowell's background makes him hungry to be a star. And this week's NFL Power Rankings. It's all on FoxSportsOhio.com. Corey Kluber with a 6-run cushion now.
Well, 7 runs on the board in the 3rd inning. That's something we haven't seen here in ages. Nice to see some crooked numbers up there, and they're doing it early. And doing it for Kluber.
Well, wrapped it around the outside edge, 1-1. The 7 runs scored, Rick, marked the 4th most the Indians have scored in support of Kluber this year, most since May the 24th. So it's been a while for Corey that he's been able to go out there and not that he's just going to start grooving pitches down the middle of the plate, but he's not out there like every pitch could be life or death.
Right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with giving him a lead. It's always fun. And when you can go out there and you have a nice lead, you don't have to be so fine.
Stat of the game brought to you by Buick. Corey, as I told you in our open, 3rd in the American League in earned run average, trailing only Chris Sale and Felix Hernandez, just ahead of John Lester of Oakland. Corey's made 29 consecutive starts where he's allowed 4 earned runs or less. That's the best in all of baseball. Now, he has had a couple of starts where he's given up more than 4 runs, but earned runs. You have to go all the way back to his first start of the year in Oakland.
In Oakland, right.
Where he gave up 5. One-hop smash to second. And Jason Kipnis throws out the big guy Vargas, 2 down.
Well, guarantee your 2014 postseason tickets with the Tribe's playoff payoff program. It's a deposit on 2015 season tickets, and you gain priority to the 2014 postgame tickets. Visit Indians.com for more details.
Corey Kluber now going to work on Trevor Plouffe, who flied to center to end the first inning. There's a high drive, fairly deep right field. Holt backpedaling onto the warning track, makes the catch, and Kluber sets him down on 7 pitches here in the 4th. Wins early here today, and they've knocked Kyle Gibson from the ballgame after just 3 innings. So our Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen is for right-hander Anthony Swarzak, who comes on to pitch here in the 4th. His 47th appearance of the year. Didn't he make that one start against Cleveland?
Yes, he did, and he beat the Indians. That was his first start in about
really
70-some appearances, I believe.
Yep.
He did. He pitched well that day and got the win, yes. That was July 23rd against the Indians. It was a spot start in his first since 2012. He went 5 innings, gave up a run on 2 hits, striking out 3 and got the win.
Well, Tyler Holt banged into a double play his first time up. Takes letter high pitch for ball 1.
Yeah, Gibson just didn't have it today. You could tell. We've seen him 3 other times, and he had much better stuff. This time just couldn't command anything and didn't have a good slider.
Well, it's nice to see that when a guy doesn't have his good stuff, it's nice to see your offense jump on him and say, all right, you don't have it today, then you're not going to be around here long.
It's nice to see some offense, period. We haven't seen any for a month, at least for the most part. You know, it's been three runs or less. I think only 3 times out of their last 18 games have they scored more than 3. Good pitch.
The strike is called. Low and away. Full count. Payoff pitch. And it's a fair ball. Nice diving stop by Mauer. And the flip to Swarzak for out number 1. Terrific diving effort at first base by Joe Mauer to rob Holt of extra bases.
That was a nice play. Going down the line, Holt thought he had a base hit. He's watching it develop in front of him. You see these guys make that play and they take a hit away from you. You're thinking, come on. Is it that tough up here to get a base hit? Sometimes it is. There's a catcher making that play at first base. But will no longer catch.
Michael Bourne drives one deep center field. Santana back and makes the catch. 2 down. Injury report today brought to you by the attorneys at Elk & Elk. Glenn Perkins still in a day-to-day situation with the neck problem. Same goes for Danny Duffy with the Royals. J.J. Hardy can afford to rest for a while. The Orioles have a huge lead in the East. Pedroia done for the year for Boston. Today marks just the 3rd time since August the 4th that the Indians have scored 7 runs in a ball game. They beat the Tigers 7-0 when Danny Salazar authored his first career complete game shutout. That was just a few days ago. Back on August 19th, they beat the Twins in Minnesota 7-5. And August 4th, they beat Cincinnati here 7-1 behind Corey Kluber. So when you say we haven't seen a lot of offense, you've been few and far between. No, you know what? There was one game in there I missed. They beat the White Sox in that 10-inning game in Chicago 8-6. But they just haven't had a lot of fun, those big breakout games. That's line toward left field. That's going to be a base hit. And Jose Ramirez is 2 for 3, so he just continues to swing the bat very well.
Yeah, stayed on that ball. It was a breaking ball. Maybe had too much of the plate, but he takes it the other way. Gets it in front of Schaefer in left field. That's 8 hits now for the Indians, 2 for Ramirez.
So a 2-out base runner for Michael Brantley, who has walked, singled, driven in a run, and he has scored 2. The old adage of scoring early and adding on, 5th time this year that the Indians have scored in each of the first 3 innings. And the previous 4 times they did it, they won all of those games. Which is not surprising when you look at the numbers overall. I mean, when the Indians score first, they're 50-23. And to take that a step further, Rick, when they score 4 or more, they're 52-18. 5 or more, they go to 46-8.
Yeah, when you put a lot of runs on in the first 2 or 3 innings and you've got 7 on the board, the percentages of any team coming back on you are just so long. It's a rarity.
Well, and especially when you've got Corey
like,
Kluber.
Yeah, right. Depending on who you got. When you have your best on the mound, it's lights out. It's just a matter, okay, let's wait till they're done swinging it.
Brantley drives one deep left center field. Santana on the move. He's running out of real estate, and he makes the catch. He had to get airborne to take that one in. He takes a hit away from Brantley, and the Indians are finally held off the board here in the 4th. Great Northern Mall on the North Olmsted Auto Mile. By Levin Mattress, located in all Levin furniture and freestanding locations. And by Kia. Visit mykiacleveland.com to learn more. (7-1). Indians up big. Terry Francona was saying the other day that Corey Kluber, when he leaves, he always goes through the doorway right by where he's standing. And he said, I would always pat Kluber on the back, say, good job, give him a high five, a fist bump. And he said, then I realized, Yan Gomes walks by me every day, too, when he's catching Corey Kluber. And I never think to pat him on the back because he's the guy down there calling the pitches and working him through every inning. So he said, I stopped myself and make sure I pat him on the back, too, when he comes by.
See? You can't treat one kid different than you treat another, Dad. You got to treat them all the same.
Speaking of which, double trouble in the bleachers today. Oswaldo Arcia bangs one through the hole with the shift on. That's an easy hit. With a regular defense, that's an easy out. But Arcia crosses him up, and he's aboard to start the fifth. It's just the third hit allowed by Kluber and the first since the first inning.
Well, you're going to say, why did they have three guys on that side of the field? Well, he just fooled the defense is what he did right there.
Well, that snaps a string of 10 in a row set down by Kluber.
He went away from his game plan of trying to hit everything out of the ballpark and pull everything and just went the other way. It's amazing that other people don't try and do it more.
Now Kurt Suzuki. He was robbed of a hit by Santana his first time up. That's only the 14th ball thrown by Kluber.
How about him? He had a start this year where he just threw 16 balls in the whole game.
Ran it in off the dish, and it's 2-1. Suzuki, though, he's out of that Oakland Athletics mold where take a lot of pitches, work the count. Wants that high on-base percentage. Foul back 2-2.
That game I was referring to came back on July 30th for Corey Kluber against Seattle. It was a 2-0 win, a complete game, 3-hit shutout. He threw 85 pitches, 68 strikes, and just 16 balls. I don't know if we'll ever see that again. I mean, think about that. 85 pitches, complete game shutout.
Kluber's 2-2. And a foul out of play.
People at home are sitting there trying to figure it out. They're not at home, they're at school. And they're teaching their students. That's all right, I'm just reading what they have in the notes. Oh, bingo.
2-2 the count with a runner at first here in the fifth inning. Indians all over the Twins, 7-1 our score. And now a full count. Eduardo Escobar waiting on deck. Kluber's payoff pitch. And a foul back by Suzuki. So far, the season series between these two squared at 7 apiece. 2 today and then 3 next weekend in Minnesota at the tail end of an upcoming 10-game road trip for the Tribe that will begin tomorrow night in Detroit. Another foul ball by Suzuki. At 43-30, the Indians have one of the best home records in all of baseball. In the American League, only the Angels, A's, and Orioles have a better winning percentage at home than Cleveland.
Well, for the Indians after today, see if they can turn it here.
They get 1 and 2. Ramirez to Kipnis to Santana. 2 down now in the 5th.
There you go. You look for that ground ball. Ramirez gets it over to Kipnis. In turn, he's able to turn it. The 125th double play turned by the Indians. In Minnesota, they're the best in the league as far as the hitting into the fewest double plays. That's just number 86 for them as a team.
Well, it's always good when you can get the catcher to hit a ground ball on the infield because those guys are the ones you can usually double up. Eduardo Escobar flied to left, his only time up. And Suzuki probably runs better than a lot of catchers. And Escobar fouls it off of his own foot. And he falls behind on the count 1-2. The 1-2. And that's out of play. Kluber fires. And Escobar able to lay off. Right by Kluber on the big hop. Kipnis flips it to first, and the inning is over. We'll head to the bottom of the 5th. 7-1 Cleveland.
Indians on September 27th for Fan Appreciation Night right here at Progressive Field. The Tribe will take on the Rays. Fans can enjoy Dollar Dogs, fireworks, and other fan appreciation activities throughout the night. Visit Indians.com for your tickets.
Bottom of the fifth, Carlos Santana to lead it off. Then Jason Kipnis and Yan Gomes. Fastball strike to the outside corner. Santana got it started for Cleveland in the bottom of the first. Indians were down a run. And with 2 outs, Santana hit a 2-run tape measure shot to deep right field. And the Indians have never looked back. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Well, he's been away for the first pitch, coming in on the second one, away on the third, in on the fourth. See what he does here.
Went back in, fouled back out of play.
Tried to go in, didn't get it in there enough. Santana fouled it off.
Okay, upstairs now a full count. And Carlos tees off again. Back is Arcia, makes the catch in front of the wall for out number 1. Boy, I thought he had it. Another home run, but that one must have been just off the end of the bat a tad. Didn't quite barrel that one like the one before.
No, he did not. I mean, he hit it well. I think you might be right. It might have been. I think Swarzak thought it was gone as soon as you see the swing, but it stayed in the ballpark.
Is that one where you check the bat and go, uh-oh, all the hits are out of this one?
I don't know, because I was looking at the replay, and it didn't look like he got it off the end of the bat. I don't know. He put a good swing on it. Everything looked good, but it just didn't get out.
Jason Kipnis walked and scored in the third.
I was looking for it to go off the end. Maybe it was more so than I thought than what it looks. It looked like he hit on a pretty good part, but only he could tell you. He'll feel it.
Strike called. It's 2-2 on Jason Kipnis. Bounce to first. 2 away. Well, if you just walked in the house, flipped on the TV, here's what you may have missed. Carlos Santana's 2-run homer with 2 outs in the first put the Indians ahead. Yan Gomes went deep for a solo shot in the second. And then they piled on in the third with Gomes putting the exclamation point on a 4-run third inning as the Indians lead it 7-1. Breaking ball a little bit high. Bounce towards the shortstop, Escobar, and he boots it. He had it skip past him. And the 2-out error will keep the inning alive.
Yeah, nonchalant at that ball. Went on the backhand, and I don't know if he really concentrated the whole way to get it in his glove. Let's check it out. It was right there, and maybe he thought that ball was going to come up a little higher than what it did. It did not. That'll go as an error.
That one gets away from Suzuki, but not far enough because of the way it caromed.
That was just a weird play. I don't know if Gomes was even watching. I mean, that ball bounced off a shin guard, I think, of Suzuki, and he wasn't going anywhere. He didn't want to go anywhere.
That's going to find its way out of play.
Well, with yesterday's rain out, let's send out some birthday wishes. Ed Hosier is 89 out of Lakewood. We also have Ralph Anderson turning 82. And he and his wife Pat are also celebrating their 46th wedding anniversary, so congratulations there. That was for yesterday. Now we'll get caught up to the 11th where we stand today.
And Lonnie Chisenhall draws a walk. 2 on, 2 out. And J.B. Shuck will be the batter.
Send out special birthday wishes. Arlene Wilcox is 90 today. Annie Howman of Ashland turning 81.
Wow.
And Bud and Pat White celebrating their 61st wedding anniversary from Medina. Congratulations.
J.B. Shuck will bat with 2 on and 2 out. Bounced into a fielder's choice in the second, grounded out to end the third. And this one's flared towards shallow right. Dozier goes out and makes the grab to end the inning. 5 complete. Indians 7, Twins 1. Remember, you can tweet your photos to us using the hashtag STOFanPhoto. For a chance to have them shown during our telecast, it's all courtesy of AT&T. Jordan Schaefer will lead off the sixth here for Minnesota. Corey Kluber, through the first five, has allowed just 3 hits. And 2 of those came in the first inning. A little bit outside, ball 1. Corey came into this inning having thrown 70% of his pitches for strikes. But only, as Tom Boschenek so quickly pointed out, only 7 of 17 first pitch strikes. So he hasn't always been strike one, but
70%, 70%. That's fine with me.
Right.
He's always got another number here or there.
That's going to be a foul ball, and it counts as 1-2.
Should have been a math teacher.
I think he got too much sleep last night. Bouncing off the walls in here today.
Well, he was. He went home after we got rained out, was texting me all night long about other things going on in other games. Tell him, don't be afraid. Go to bed one night. Get some sleep. Leave me alone.
Earned runs divided by innings pitched times 9. There's a foul ball.
Figuring out
again.
the formula. He's going to miss us. I mean, we only have, after today, the Indians with just 6 home games left.
Yep.
We go out on the road, I wouldn't be surprised to open up and see him in my suitcase. That'll be my little dummy I'm going to keep on my lap for our opens on the road.
Oh, my. The 1-2 pitch from Kluber. Hit hard to first. Oh! Carlos Santana is having one whale of a day at the plate and in the field.
That was really nice there as well. He just stayed with it. Look how soft those hands. He just stayed with the baseball. Watch how his glove is down and goes up. Very nicely done. Able to pick that ball cleanly and able to jog to first for the out. That's his second very good defensive play today.
Top of the order, and Danny Santana. He doubled and scored in the first. And that double came on a 1-2 pitch from Corey Kluber.
That was the cutter inside after he went in his very first at-bat. Leadoff man of the game. But he did strike him out with that cutter away the second time up. There's a good fastball in.
Good pitch. There's that two-seamer that he starts at the hitter, and it leaks back over the inside corner. Santana can complain about it all he wants, but it's been a strike all season long.
Well, and it is a strike. I mean, that's a perfect pitch. He went in there at 92 with a four-seamer, and then that two-seamer, that comeback.
The count of ball and 2 strikes for Danny Santana.
That's how he got him last time. This one must have wrapped around the plate. Check it out on our Nissan pitch tracker. Did it have plate? Oh, it's high. Little bit high. Looked like it was on the outside edge.
Slowly chopped to third. Chisenhall on the move. Unloads in a hurry to get him 2 away. Find out what's happening with the Cleveland Browns as they prepare for Sunday's home opener against the New Orleans Saints. on Browns Insider with Mike Pettin, presented by Liberty Ford. That's coming up tonight after Indians Live here on Sports Time Ohio. Brian Dozier has grounded out, and he was called out on strikes his last time up. Count evens up 1-1. Down in Cincinnati, Cardinals and Reds, they're scoreless in the 5th inning. Dozier taking another called strike. Now the 1-2 delivery. Popped him up. Kipnis calls for it. Makes the catch. Twins go in order. We go to the bottom of the 6th, 7-1 Indians.
$2-1 is back. Check out one of the best deals here at the ballpark. Fans can take advantage of $4 12-ounce beers, $3 hot dogs, $2 pop refills. Visit Indians.com for your tickets.
New pitcher for Minnesota is A.J. Ochter. 6'5", 210 pounds. From Western Ohio, born in Toledo. Played collegiately at Michigan State.
I was going to say, if he's in Toledo, he's either got to be a Detroit fan or an Indian fan. Now, if he went to Michigan State, I'd say a Detroit fan.
Could be.
Growing up.
He went to high school, I believe. Well, let me check here. AJ makes his home in Oregon, Ohio, which I know is out there in the western part of the state. Low and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes. bounced it in there. Wow. A.J. Octor was a 46th round pick. Is that right? I got to look at that again. 46th round pick. Out of play. The last Michigan State baseball player in the major leagues was Mark Mulder. Swing and a miss. That's the first Indian to strike out in the game here today. Wasn't Mulder trying to come back this spring?
Yes, he was, and he ended up getting hurt with the Angels.
That's right, yeah.
I think he blew out an Achilles or something. He did. He was gone for, I think, 5 or 6 years.
08 was his last year in the big leagues.
Right, so he was trying to make a comeback with the Angels this year in spring training and blew out earlier, and I believe it was an Achilles.
I got to be honest with you. I didn't realize, I guess I'd forgotten that Mark Mulder was a Michigan State guy. But I still find it hard to believe that they haven't had a player in the big league since Mulder in 08.
Michigan State now football and basketball programs or baseball programs I don't know about.
Line to center, base hit for Bourne. Well, he's got 2 hits today.
Nice line drive stroke here with a fastball right there to hit. So he did exactly what he wanted to do with it. That's 9 hits now for the Indians. Bourne, his second. He, Ramirez, and Gomes each have 2 hits in game number 1. Ramirez has been on a nice tear. As far as hitting the baseball, he has that average up to 263.
Pitch down low, and Bourne has it stolen easily. Number 10 for Michael Bourne.
7-1, they weren't paying much attention to him, so he just took off.
To right field, he's going to try again, but Arcia is going to be able to run this one down in front of the warning track. Ramirez will tag and glide over to third base, 2 down. Of A.J. Octor, Twins general manager Terry Ryan said, look, he's one of those guys who's not going to light up a radar gun, but he has enough velocity, throws strikes, holds runners well. He said if you look at his numbers against left-handers in the minor leagues, they're unbelievable. We brought him up because, quote, he deserved it. And Octor took to Twitter by saying, there are so many people out there that have sacrificed so much time and energy to make my dream possible. I will forever be grateful to them, especially my family and the people in my hometown of Oregon, Ohio, and the people at Michigan State. Thanks for all the support and kind words.
Good for him. Well, that's what you need to hear. If they say you deserve it and you get the call up, good for you. You work hard. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Ripped into the glove of Mauer, who might have caught it out of self-defense more than anything else. That'll end the inning. That was really hit hard. Indians tack on another run on the Brantley RBI single, 8-1 Tribe. The road to glory travels to Solon for a non-conference showdown. The Comets host the Willoughby South Rebels on their home turf. Jeff Phelps and Frank Stams have all the action tomorrow night at 11. High school football on Sports Time Ohio, presented by Wayside Furniture.
Do you have a chance to do any football when we're done this year?
Yeah.
You're going to do some high school football?
Yeah.
Good for you.
We'll all throw our heavy coats on and boots and get out there for high school football playoffs.
Got to start doing some more homework then,
That's
don't
right.
you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, get Tommy and get the lobster over there. He can help you out. Claw your way out of the pot.
They'll be all along.
Oh, they will be with you, won't
Yeah.
they? Make sure you don't listen.
Here's Joe Mauer, 0 for 2 on the day. Takes up high, ball 1. Mauer's called out on strikes in the first. He grounded out in the 4th inning. Corey Kluber has been in command. He's yielded just 3 hits, has not walked a batter, and has struck out 4. More importantly, he's been just quietly efficient here today.
It seems like that's all he ever does when he goes out there. He's just so it's a peaceful game to watch. You know, he never lets anything get out of control. He is. It seems like he's always in control. The times he has struggled, when he had that 3-game losing streak, Matt, it was, if anything, the command of his fastball wasn't quite where it should be. You know, when he can put people away and then they get back into some counts. Other than that, that has been it.
Yeah, the game against
He hasn't
Detroit.
got knocked out anything. They hit 3 home runs, but first time ever.
Yeah, that was the only game. That and the first start of the year back in Oakland, the only games I can remember where he hasn't really just been dominant. He strikes out Joe Mauer, and that's number 5 on the day for Corey Kluber. 1 down here in the 7th inning as you look at what he's been able to do today.
Again, that's Mauer where he spots him with the fastball. Arcia took a bad swing. He gets inside on a couple other hitters. And typical Corey Kluber game. No walks right now, 5 strikeouts. He's into the 7th inning. He had a double play turned. He's allowed 3 hits and just 1 run. 10-0-2, 1-2 counts. Probably 10 outs on 3 pitches or less. 8.
Well, 1 down now for Kenny Vargas, who is 1 for 2 on the afternoon. Well, yesterday, Ferris Ohl celebrated his 100th birthday.
Wow. Happy birthday.
He and his wife Dorothy had a lunch date this afternoon, so they might have missed the beginning of the ball game. They were going to try to get home.
Well,
how about that? 100 years old still. We're going out for lunch today.
That's good. Everybody give him a call and tell him you heard it on STO.
Ferris and Dorothy have been married 72 years.
Wow. That's amazing.
Make their home in Tiffin. And this is what I think is really cool about this deal, though. Ferris's granddaughter, Harper, celebrated her first birthday yesterday on the same day as he celebrated his 100th birthday. That's pretty cool. So happy birthday to all.
Yes, indeed.
Folks had a great time.
Let's see, 2:04. No, they probably ate an early lunch. They're home taking a nap.
Half dozen strikeouts for Corey Kluber, and there are 2 down here in the 7th inning as he continues to mow them down.
There you go. Down. That's a great slider. The bottom just falls out, disappears. So back-to-back strikeouts for Corey.
Trevor Plouffe, 0 for 2. He has flied to center, and he has flied to right. Chops this one up the middle. Kipnis is there. Slipped a little bit, but he regained his footing and throws him out in another quick 1-2-3 inning for Corey Kluber. We've reached the 7th inning stretch. Brought to you by Spitzer Auto World. Life is hard. Buying a car shouldn't be. Ballpark here this afternoon. That's our panini cam, the overstuffed cam from high atop the. It's not even on the foul pole. That's on the light tower.
That's on our blimp we're flying around the ballpark today, way up there.
As promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Carlos Santana got it started with his bat. A booming 442-foot homer off the facing of the second deck in right field. Then he started throwing the leather around. A couple of tremendous plays defensively to help out Corey Kluber.
Yeah, nicely done. Yan Gomes has had a pretty good day today as well.
Yes, indeed. He's driven in 3 of the Indians' 8 runs, a solo homer and a 2-run double. One ball, one strike for Gomes. A.J. Achter. And fouled right back. Indians tagged Kyle Gibson for 7 runs on 7 hits in the first 3 innings of today's game. Gomes a swing and a miss. And Achter has his second strikeout. 1 down here in the 7th.
Well, guarantee your 2014 postseason tickets with the Tribe's Playoff Payoff Program. Place a deposit on 2015 season tickets. Gain access to 2014 postseason. Visit Indians.com for more details.
Lonnie Chisenhall, a base hit in the 2nd inning, a sac fly in the 3rd, giving him his 57th run batted in on the year, and then he walked his last time up. To right field, Arcia in to make the catch. 2 down. And J.B. Shuck will be the batter 0 for 3. You know, you were asking before about Oregon, Ohio, and where does that lie loyalty-wise between Indians and Tigers fans. Jim Leland grew up in Perrysburg, Ohio, and that's not far from Oregon. And I remember he said once that there are a lot of Indians fans and there are a lot of Tigers fans. It just might depend on which street you live on.
Yeah.
In comes the left fielder, and a catch made by Schaefer. And the Indians go 1-2-3 for the first time today. The Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. (8-1) Indians on top as we go to the 8th inning, and stay tuned for Indians Live. Presented by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. Justin Sellers takes over for Lonnie Chisenhall defensively now at third base. Oswaldo Arcia singled in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 2 on the afternoon. Takes a strike over the inside corner. Upstairs with it. Swing and a miss, 1-2 the count. Ron Gardenhire says of Oswaldo Arcia, like a lot of hitters who have power, that when he doesn't try to kill the ball, everything seems to work out better.
Mm-hmm.
When he stays on it, puts a good swing on it, the ball explodes off his bat. Like in the first game of the series when he hit the 2-run homer to right center field.
Well, there you go. There was a smooth swing right there.
And Bourne couldn't come up with it, so it's a base hit for Arcia, and he's 2 for 3 today.
And that's exactly what Gardenhire is talking about right there. That swing, he had 2 strikes. He wasn't trying to pull it, wasn't trying to swing too hard. And watch a nice swing. And see, his head stayed down and hit a line drive to center field. Bourne comes in, and that he was about a few inches away from getting that glove underneath the ball and it staying in. It didn't, so it rolls out. But a good swing by Arcia to get his second hit, and it's the 4th Twins hit. And we talk about that, and I think it's true with any hitter, whether you hit home runs or not. They come from quality at-bats, from quality swings. You ask any hitter in the game, and I don't care how big he is or how small, when you try to hit a home run, how many times do you? It's a rarity. And because you end up getting bigger, longer, and slower than short and quick to the baseball. They come with just quality at-bats, home runs do.
Where Tom Bernansky feels he's made some strides and has had an impact with Arcia is that Arcia will now tell him when he's too amped up, when he overswings, he can feel it.
Yeah.
And Bernansky says when you can feel that, that's half the battle.
That's making an adjustment after every swing or after every pitch.
Suzuki with a fly to center for out number 1. I mean, it's one thing if you're coming back to the dugout and the coach is trying to tell you, look, you overswung. If you don't feel it, if you don't understand it, then there's a disconnect. So until you get to the point where it's like, oh, now I know what you're talking about.
You don't need him to tell you. You will know that on your own. That comes with at-bats. That comes with, big league at-bats and knowing yourself and knowing situations. I think a lot of hitters do it in situations. And that's why they get themselves out a lot of times.
Eduardo Escobar is flat out, grounded out. 0 for 2 today, 0 for 5 in the series. And he takes a strike from Kluber, who has hit 90 pitches on the afternoon, and 66 of his 90 have been for strikes.
Yeah, he's in one of those zones again. Again, when I looked up and he had 85 pitches, he had 24 balls. And I told you about that one start where, against Seattle, he had just 16 balls in his first, in the complete game of his 85 pitches.
You do the math at home for if you want to know how many strikes he threw.
Now the 0-1 from Kluber.
You were like a cobra in the weeds.
To left field. Shuck. Can't get to it. He'll play it on the hop. And he'll hold Arcia to second base. Just off the end of the bat, and It died in a hurry. No carry.
Well, at least he stayed on the ball. And he didn't drive it. It's off the end of the bat, so you slap it the other way, you stay on it, you get rewarded with a base hit. So first and second now with one out.
And the batter is Jordan Schaefer, 0 for 2. Schaefer shattered his bat and bounced it back to the pitcher his first time up. Last time up, he hit a wicked bouncer to first that Carlos Santana made a fantastic play on. So Schaefer 0 for 2 on the day. And the Winter Haven, Florida native with a swing and a miss. And it's 0-1.
For Minnesota, this is the first runner they've had at second base since the first inning.
Yeah.
Since that leadoff double.
Cuts and misses at a wicked slider down, and it's 0-2.
Looked like a slider, a good one there. Exactly what it was.
Just now getting an Indians pitcher up in the bullpen. I believe it's Kyle Crockett who's getting loose. And Kluber's two-strike delivery. Swing and a miss. He just could not lay off that slider, so Kluber threw it again. And that's strikeout number 7 for the Indians right-hander. That gives him 230 strikeouts on the season.
Comes back to that money pitch, that wipeout pitch, the put-away pitch, the slider.
Danny Santana, swing and a miss. Santana was called out on strikes back in the third inning. Santana golfs it to deep right field, and Tyler Holt runs it down. What a day for Corey Kluber. 7 more strikeouts, 230 Ks on the year. 8-1 Indians. Kluber, and it looks like they're asking him. And Corey Kluber says, I want to stay in.
Good for him, man. Let's go. He wants another strikeout. Get him 8. Gets another. That'd be 19 times this year.
In-game box score brought to you by Hyundai. Just about everybody in on the act today. Even Jason Kipnis, who doesn't have a hit, walked and scored a run back in that 3rd inning. So the Indians jumped on Kyle Gibson early, hit him for 7 runs on 7 hits in the first 3. And then basically Corey Kluber has just run with it since then. Lester Oliveros takes over here in the 8th. Mike Aviles has moved to the on-deck circle now to bat for Michael Bourne. Assuming that's just a let's give Michael the last inning or so off, and hopefully it's nothing to do with the awkward nature in which he dove for that ball last inning in center field. What do you think?
I'm thinking it's get him out of there. I think he's fine after the dive. Get the doubleheader. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's fine.
Yep, good. Now the 2-2 outside. Tyler Holt 0 for 3 on the afternoon. By the way, if you join us late, we'll have a half-hour intermission before Game 2 of our doubleheader. Holt strikes out, 1 away. And speaking of intermission, let's take a brief respite and go out to Al Pulaski for a Mazda game break.
Hey, man, one game this afternoon in the National League, Cincinnati and St. Louis. This one is scoreless in the 8th inning. It's Lynn against Cueto. Combined, the two teams have 5 hits, and that's it. They're in the bottom of the 8th in Cincy. No score, Matt.
All right, thanks, Al. Royals are in action later tonight at home against Boston. Tigers off today. Mike Aviles takes a strike. I'll tell you what, the Toronto Blue Jays have snuck up on everybody. They've moved a half game in front of Cleveland in the wild card standings.
They've been playing very well.
4 straight wins.
8 out of their last 10.
They moved a game in front of Cleveland in the wild card standings.
Yeah, they have 2 more wins. Same amount of losses.
The 0-2 to Aviles and a foul right back. Swing and a miss, chased a high fastball. A's and White Sox are underway in Chicago. They're in the 2nd inning, no score there. Oakland has lost 7 of their last 10. And they're just fighting for their playoff lives, literally, right now. Oliveros has struck out the first 2 here in the 8th. And Jose Ramirez taking ball 1. Now the 2-1. And Ramirez taking off the plate. And it's 3-1. The 3-2 pitch. Back out of play. Olivero's payoff pitch. And Ramirez lifts it in the air to left center. They're both calling for it, and it drops, I think. Or did he catch it? Holy mackerel, he caught that ball. Santana, I think, caught it. I don't know how in the world he caught it, but he did. And the inning is over. They were both calling for it, and wow.
Willie Mays caught it.
Yes, he did. Brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Limit the middle of the Twins lineup. Corey Kluber limited everybody in that Twins lineup today. And the Indians 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Some clutch hits and some big hits early. The big ball, home run ball.
Long ball, early scoring, 7 in the first 3 innings. That's a good combination.
All right, almost an entirely new defense now for the Indians. Aviles is in left. Tyler Holt goes to center, and J.B. Shuck is now in right field. I'll show you the new infield alignment after this pitch to Dozier, lifted out of play foul. Justin Sellers is at third. Jose Ramirez is at short. Tyler Walters is at second, and you saw Chris Jimenez now at first base with Yan Gomes behind the dish. Strike called, and it's 0-2. "21 of Corey Kluber's last 22 pitches have been strikes." Almost like a great distance runner who can sense the finish line coming down the stretch. Line to center, though, a base hit by Dozier. His first hit of the day on an 0-2 pitch. Joe Mauer to the plate.
Crockett, he was up last inning, so he just got up again and started throwing here in the 9th.
Joe Mauer has struck out twice. He has grounded out once. And Kluber's pitch is low for ball 1. You know, you and I had a conversation earlier this year with Jason Kipnis And the gist of the conversation was about how, nowadays when you're facing a starting pitcher, you're lucky if you see him twice, and then they're into the bullpen.
3 times if he's having a good afternoon or a good night.
And so here's Corey Kluber going through the lineup now for the 4th time in this ballgame. But Jason was saying, a lot of times as a hitter, your best shot to get a hit or to get something going is early in the game, first couple of times up, because
against the starter, right.
So many teams are bringing 95-mile-an-hour flamethrowers out of the bullpen one after another.
Yeah, it starts matching up as the middle of the game goes on.
Point being, we're seeing a rarity in today's game of baseball, which is a starter pitching in the 9th inning. Just
pitching
don't see it very often.
In the 9th inning, he's going for his 2nd consecutive complete game.
3 on the year for Kluber, complete game efforts. Just off the outside edge. Mauer with Kenny Vargas to follow here in the 9th. Leadoff man aboard. Indians, though, in command 8-1. Right back off the glove of Kluber. Walters gets the force at second. Ramirez, though, unable to turn the double play. I think Ramirez might have been a little surprised that Walters flipped it to him.
Yeah, he was. You have to get an out in that situation, and I think you're right because Dozier getting down there. That ball deflected off Kluber, off his glove, and it goes over to Walters, and there it is. He didn't expect that quick flip like that. I think you're right. So, but they do get the lead runner
first. To get
probably should have, but Ramirez, he was able to keep the foot on the bag and get that lead runner.
So Zach Walters, who we've seen in the outfield, second time we've seen him at second base. He's handled himself well, though, on the infield. Kenny Vargas, 1 for 3, singled in a run back in the 1st inning. Down and in for ball 1. And a strike. One into right field, a base hit. And Mauer will hit second and go to third. And now Terry Francona probably wondering, what do we do here?
Well, you got Plouffe, the right-hander, coming up. Crockett's still the only one throwing out of that bullpen.
With Arcia on deck, could be the last.
Yeah, Callaway will take a little stroll to the mound.
Stay tuned for Indians Live, presented by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. Anything you missed earlier, if you tuned in late, stick around. Al and Jason will fill you in on anything you might have missed earlier today, all the highlights. And then we'll be right back for Game 2 of our doubleheader between the Indians and the Minnesota Twins. TJ House will go for the Tribe against Ricky Nolasco. House has been very good. His ERA 3.71. Nolasco 5-10 with a 5.87 ERA for Minnesota. Again, it's one of those situations where, is it must win? Okay, technically no. But for the Indians to have any shot, they virtually have to sweep here today. They give themselves every chance they can muster going into Detroit.
I look at it must win every game. Really. I mean, I don't care that you have 4 teams in front of you. It's a must win every game.
Plouffe fouls it left side.
That one almost got Grignon in the head. Look at him hiding.
Can't hide that head.
No kidding. Ugly finder.
First and third, 1 out. And Trevor Plouffe 0 for 3 on the day. A couple of fly balls. He grounded to second his last time up. That was on the first pitch. Kluber has him down on the count 0-2. Pitch number 110 coming here for Corey Kluber. As this crowd, which has been steadily increasing as the day has gone along, they have watched Kluber go out and pitch another gem here today. The 0-2 offering. Broke his bat, and it'll drop in left field for an RBI single. And in all likelihood will single the end of the day for Kluber.
Yep, here comes the skipper.
So Corey Kluber goes 8 1/3. He allows 2 runs. But he's going to finish just shy of his 4th complete game effort of the season, 2nd in a row. But he departs with the Indians leading it 8-2. The Indians lead it thanks to this guy. Corey Kluber he's made sure Minnesota hasn't had much to rally around today.
Well, when he has everything working, he can throw the 2 different style fastballs, the cutter and that slider. I haven't really seen a whole lot of changeups from him today, but boy, he's got to be fun to sit back behind the plate and just put down your fingers because you know he's going to be around the plate. 7 strikeouts again, no walks in his 8 1/3 innings, 8 hits given up. But just another very good start from Corey Kluber. 16-0-2, 1-2 counts.
Pinch hitter Yasmil Pinto batting for Oswaldo Arcia here in the 9th inning. Now to play to the right. Look out. 2 balls and a strike. We're in the 9th. Indians on top 8-2. Minnesota with 2 on and 1 out. Well, now Crockett's behind 3-1. Left field. Avila's back on the track, makes the catch just in front of the wall for out number 2. And that will bring up Kurt Suzuki as the Twins are now down to their last out. Well, Avila's hasn't played much lately, as I mentioned earlier in the game. But he was able to get back and run this one down. So now Suzuki, who is 0 for 3 on the day. Inside, that's ball 1. Cincinnati finally scored. They took a 1-0 lead on St. Louis, and they're now in the 9th inning. Cardinals began the day 3.5 games up on Pittsburgh in the NL Central. In for a strike to Suzuki to even the count of 1-1. Bounce to short. Jose Ramirez will go to second, and the game is over. The Indians throttle the Twins here this afternoon in the first game of the doubleheader by a final score of 8-2. Corey Kluber went 8 1/3 to get the win. He is now 15-9 on the year. And the Indians go to 75-69. Minnesota falls to 62-83. Kyle Gibson taking the loss for the Twins. He is now 11-11 on the year. This was a good game all the way around. Indians played some solid defense behind Kluber. He was outstanding pitching the baseball, and offensively they jumped on Gibson and hammered him early. Time now for our key play of the game, brought to you by KeyBank.
Well, let's go to Yan Gomes back in the 3rd inning. He just put it out of reach here because, you know, you get Corey Kluber some runs early. They have only done that 4 times. This one, a 2-run double. Drives him in. And for Gomes, he had 3 RBIs in his first 2 at-bats. And that pretty much did end the Minnesota Twins. That's going to be our key play of the game, brought to you by KeyBank.
So a tremendous afternoon of baseball for the Indians. And we've still got one more game to go to wrap up the doubleheader. Let's go down to the field where we're joined now by Corey Kluber, who went 8 1/3 to get his 15th win of the season here today. Corey, against this Minnesota lineup, obviously you were able to keep them off balance, it seemed like, most of the day. Not necessarily a ton of first pitch strikes, but you were able to get back in counts early and often.
Yeah, you know, they've as a team, they've been swinging the bat pretty good recently, and you know, kind of the focus coming into today was to kind of put the pressure on them, you know, not try to not let them get in too many hitter advantage counts and stuff, and you know, mix it up on them and keep them off balance.
Well, you always pride yourself on getting ahead in the count, and you did that today. 16-0-2, 1-2 counts. You had 13 outs on 3 pitches or less. That's how you're able to stay in a ball game. I mean, it's been fun to watch, and everything was working for you. And it seems like you do that every day, but how much fun was it getting 7 runs in the first 3 innings today?
Yeah, that was great. You know, like I always say, anytime you get that run support, I'm never going to complain about it. You know, it was good to see the guys coming out swinging the bats. Had some really good ABs and put some good swings on the ball early on, and you know, put the pressure on them and kind of blew it open early.
Does it do anything for you as a pitcher when you see those big numbers go up on your side of the ledger early in a game?
I mean, obviously, when you're pitching with the lead, it gives you more confidence out there. But I try to keep the same approach of, just trying to go out and pitch regardless of the score. Try to treat it as each inning is its own inning, and try to get 3 outs and not let them score. But like I said, obviously, when you get all that run support that I got early, it makes your job a little bit easier.
So what's the mentality for you guys now? It's almost like a must-win situation every game out there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a little bit of a hole to dig out of, but there is still time, and we can't look back or look forward. We just got to focus on winning each ball game.
Hey, one last thing before I let you go. How about the defense behind you? How about Santana over there at first base? What do you think of some of those plays?
Yeah, I think it's gone a little bit too unnoticed how good Carlos has been over at first base. Everybody talks about his bat and stuff, but he's really turned himself into a really good first baseman, and that's an advantage to have somebody over there at first who he's made some diving plays for me. He's made some picks on throws, things like that. So for not playing over there very long, he's doing a great job.
Yeah, well, you are doing a great job as well. Congratulations on another big win here today. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
That's Indians pitcher Corey Kluber. The Tribe rolls to an 8-2 victory over the Minnesota Twins in Game 1 of our doubleheader. We've got some final thoughts when we come back.